agenda of the NAACP.
Thank you.
Last week, I had an inauguration at Evander Childs High School campus, and I want to thank each and every one of you who was able to attend, and I hope you had a wonderful time. Throughout the whole inauguration, and then as I spoke, it was all a community celebration. And that's where we have to go moving forward as a 12th district, as a community. And I'm asking each and every one of you and us, in the spirit of what Dr. King fought and died for. You know, he gave his life, he gave of his spirit, he gave of his heart, he gave his community to make sure that those around him who could live a little better than the day before. That's the spirit that we're bringing to the 12th district. That's the spirit that we are committing in that office on Gun Hill Road, 250 and in Co-op City, to make sure to do all we can to make sure that 12th district residents have a better life today than they did yesterday. And I'm asking you all for your help, as I said at my inauguration, for you to help me, help you to help us. That's the only way this works. No longer can be the days that we elect somebody, then we leave them alone, and we sit in the living room and complain about them if they didn't get to do the things that we asked for them to do during the campaign. I'm asking each and every one of you for your help to show up. Today is about community accountability. If we want to get things done, as I've always said, you will hear me say from time and time again, people pay attention to people who participate. That's the rule for us now. People will pay attention to people who participate. Right. So if you want us to pay attention to you down at City Hall, that means you got to participate. When we ask you to show up to a rally, if we ask you to show up to a committee meeting, if we ask you just to show up for something in the district that's going to improve, you got to show up, because they only pay attention to people who participate. The reality is this: when you come into an elected official's office, now I can truly say in my office, I'm not saying that it happens in the 12th district, but I know for a fact, you walk into somebody's office and ask for help, what tends to happen after you fill out that intake sheet and you go and you walk out, they take that intake sheet in the back and they pull out their voter's roll and they see if you voted. And if you haven't voted, you know what ends up happening to your intake form? Yeah. Why? Because they only paying attention to people who participate. So don't be fooled that you can sit home in the living room, complain, watch reality TV, don't get involved, show up once a month to something, and think that your task has been completed. It doesn't work that way. I have to show up each and every day, 7 days of the week, 24 hours, I'm on call to service this neighborhood. I'm not asking you to take on my schedule, but I'm asking you to take on a little bit more than you took on yesterday. That's the only way this is going to work, because we have to pay attention to those of us who participate. So I'm asking all of you who come to NAACP meetings, who go to NCW meetings, who go to community board meetings, who go to precinct meetings, who go to school board meetings, who go to CEC meetings, those who set up meetings, to go to the meeting, to find a meeting, they're looking for a meeting, just got to go to a meeting. Just keep showing up. Got to keep showing up. That's what we need in order to make sure that this 12th district has a new flavor today.
That's right.
And that's what I'm asking us all. It's a new day.
Yes.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to give you a little scenario of what's happening with us in the city council. We just came from electing a new speaker for the House in City Hall. And during that vote, a number of us found ourselves on one side with a candidate, and a series of us find us on another side with another candidate. So it's just like the NBA Finals, you know, either you was with Oklahoma or you was with Miami. It's okay. But at the end of the day, whoever wins, you still got to come back together and move the body so we can serve all New Yorkers. I say that because there were a lot of emotions that went down. There were a lot of people trying to figure out their way. But you know, we are here today to say that, you know what, we start our stated meetings and we got to make sure that we pass legislation, that we create funding, that we create laws, that we put together an agenda that all New Yorkers can feel happy to be in one New York. Not the tale of two cities anymore, but combining us all together and have one New York. I say that. I grew up, my family's from the South. And the one thing that I learned about being black in America, it's so good to say that. Sometimes people are scared to say that wherever they're talking to folks. You know, they're afraid to take ownership of who they are and their heritage and their history, and they're scared to tell it, you know. But it's good to be black in America and understanding what it is to be black in America. And what it stands to be black, it means understanding what happened yesterday. It means understanding the people who went through the struggles and the fight that helped us to get to where we are today. The people who died for us to have the luxuries that we experience and we enjoy today. For our young people who are back there, my young ladies from I Rise who dance dynamically, but you know, if there wasn't a Josephine Baker, they might not be on stage today to do what they can do. So I say all of that because through all of the trials and tribulations that we experience, we need to figure out how we continually show love to each other. Yes, we may not agree with everyone. You know, some of us, you know, if you've been married for 50 years, as a matter of fact, that beautiful dynamic couple's probably been married than anybody in this room. But I guarantee you, during those years, how long has it been? 56 years. But I guarantee you, throughout those 56 years, he hasn't agreed with her 100% of the time, and she hasn't agreed with him 100% of the time. But I say that to you because even though they haven't, they still have the same love and respect for one another.
That's right.
And I'm asking us all today, we have the umbrella of the NAACP that we fall under. We have to be mindful of those founders of what we stood for when they created this. And it's all about the advancement of all of us, but it's also about the advancement of the love we need to show each other so we can continue moving forward. So I'm asking you all today to take that extra step with inside yourself, because check this out. I got issues, you got issues, we all got issues. But don't let the issues of an individual stop you from showing the love that you know you have inside of your heart to help that person become a better person. Can we make that new commitment to each other today? Can we do that? That's the kind of love that's going to help us move forward. That's the kind of love that the young people behind us, yeah, I'm young too, we all are young, don't get confused now, just some are younger than others. That's the kind of message that they're looking at when they see us as adults respond to one another. And if we can't get it right, we can't expect those coming behind us to get it right. So we got to be real mindful of how we interact with each other as we have more years on this planet than others.
That's right.
We have to be real mindful of the conversation that we share with one another when we're out in public and even behind closed doors. Because that's when we start talking about how we're really going to be true about sharing love to one another.
That's right.
If we have to change the behavior inside ourselves to get new results. Because if we don't, we'll be no better than the people from the KKK 50 years ago who are out here beating and ripping us up apart because that was their only job and their mission. So don't take on their personality, don't take on their responsibility, don't take on the jobs that they were doing. Let's take on and create the work and the ethic of a Dr. King or a Malcolm X or a Harriet Tubman, who you name it, you claim it, those brothers and sisters that did so much to allow us to be here today. So I wanted to share my message on this celebration of Dr. King's birthday. Even though his birthday was the 15th, and I always recognize, you know, he was born on the 15th, even though establishment tells us to celebrate it on the 20th, on that first Monday. But yes. I would like to see us from time to time recognize. That's why I do an open house on his birthday, because I want to recognize what Dr. King stood, you know. And when I was growing up, I used to claim him, you know, because I had to feel a sense of unity. And I remember the day that the Lord took him away from us. But I found I had a real connection to him, not only because what last name is King. His initials are MLK, mine is ALK. His daughter's name is Bernice King. My mother's name is Bernice King. My family's from Georgia. We know where his family is from. So there was always a special connection there. So on this dynamic day that we come together, I like to offer up a gift, a gesture to this branch. As I did in my inauguration, we are a beautiful mosaic in this district. And that means whether you're from Jamaica or Trinidad and Tobago, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Barbados, Mexico, Ecuador, Florida, St. Kitts, Montserrat, Nassau, Vernon. If you're just from the world that exists of people of color, just from the Congo, Nigeria, Brazil, you name it. You came. We have it right here in the 12th district. So I unveiled on that day because of those differences that we have. We know that I look around and I see on any day that there is a heritage celebration, or you look on the people's headrests, you know, they got their little flag, you know, they got their little colors and their stripes, you know, on any given day they wave it. But I unveiled on that day a District 12 flag. And I'm asking us all to come together, unite ourselves under one umbrella, which is the 12th District flag. And I will be making sure that everyone will have one of those flags, and when you see it, you will see what it means and the messages that are on there. But today, in celebration of the NAACP, I know you had the Jubilee Day. I was not here. I had to be at the mayor's inauguration. But I wanted to give a special gift for the Jubilee Day. So I'm going to ask my staff, Mr. Elijah, come up with me. And I would like to unveil.
Can I see? Can I see? Can I see? Can I see?
Go down. Just go like that.
Can I see? Can I see? Can I see? Can I see?
A banner that would like to walk up to you. That we can have. Mr. McDavid, would you care to stand on this side, please?
Please, please.
Hold this up, hold this up. Now, I want to just clearly let you see also. Yeah, I've crossed over a little bit, open it up a little bit more. Right here in the thought of this brother, as he's thinking, he's reminding himself. You may not be able to see, but see, in here there are faces of the founders of the NAACP. From William, I'm going to read off all their names, from William E. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells, Archibald Grimke, Oswald Garrison, Villard, Lillian Ward, Mary White, Ovington, William English Walling, and Henry Moskowitz. Their pictures are in here, so you will always know your history when people ask you what
Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Councilman Kidd, give it up.
So with that all being said, I got some push pins for the rest of the meeting. I'm just going to hang this up right here, y'all.
Oh, tuck it up. That's really good.
Brian. Hi.
Oh,
Elevator shoes. Elevator shoes, Brian. Elevator shoes.
Please hold that for me.
Boy, I'm so
recording, so they
thrilled.
can point it.
Look at that. Look at that. That's a classic. That's a classic. That's a classic. This is what this community is all about. We start from today, we move up into the community. Give it up again. This is what community is. This is what community is. This is giving us encouragement that we can go out into the community and say, this is what the NAACP told our elected officials. I thank you so much. I feel to cry. Let me cry.
I'll be his Tito, okay, some tissues.
That's beautiful. Are we going to do this? Like this? Let's take a picture.